the club staff seems very confident in this year's draft. You guys have mentioned that you've done a lot of scouting already. Are you going into this draft with a pretty good idea of what you want, or is it still like decisions that have yet to be made?
No, we have a good sense of what we want. There's probably, when we look at positions, there's probably a couple players per se in a position, and as we go down to the combine, we'll get one last look at a few of these guys. But we have a pretty good sense of where we need to add some depth and who the quality players are in the draft. And so it's a combination of who's the best player out there, what's the need for the club, and we'll take those things all into consideration. We've done a lot of work in lining that up, and even this last week in final preparations before we head down there. And then there's always that last impression, right before the draft that we'll take into account.
Can you give us a sense of how you view the depth in this year's draft? I mean, the MLS is a league where people can come in and help immediately in some cases.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talented players in here. I'm not sure if in this draft you have the one that really jumps out and says, I'm going to change a team in a year or in this current season. But I do think there's a lot of players who can establish themselves over the course of the year and probably provide some depth and maybe even make their way into the team as it goes. I'm not sure that guy who's ready right now is clear cut in this draft like it's been a little bit in the past. But some players are very good at adapting to the professional game out of the college game, and some do it faster than others. And so there's always guys who surprise you a little bit that way. Our goal here in the next week is to try to get a sense of any of our guys that we're looking at if they have that ability or knack to transform quickly into the pro game.
There's been some reports that you're one of the clubs that would be interested in Altidore if he came back to the club, if he came back to the league. But he wants to be a DP, right? So something would happen.
He's a DP. It was one of those things that, listen, anytime a big-time player is coming back to the league, we want to be in the discussion. There's a lot of mechanisms that have to go in place for a lot of those things to happen, but if there's a discussion of a guy who understands the league, who has been successful in the league and can help a team, we want to at least be in the discussion about that. We're not going to hide from that, and that's who knows where that ends up, but we're just going to throw them, we're going to be there if there's a discussion to be had. That would be said of any other player who comes back that can add to our roster and make us a better team.
It's more complicated when it's a DP, though.
100%.
You're full with DP.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I understand that. It's one of those. You got to get in the discussion, right, and make yourself known. We're always looking to be a better team. We'll see where it goes.
Under that criteria, you guys added Robbie Keane to the roster.
Yeah.
What do you expect from him in terms of contributions immediately to the roster? And also, are you looking at other players with a proven MLS track record to add to the team sometime soon?
Yeah, I've obviously Robin has known Robbie because he was at RSL with Robin. I have known Robbie, grew up in Arizona, which is where I'm from. So he adds, for me, a lot to us. He's a competitor. He is every day he comes to work. I think he wants to prove a little something because maybe he didn't get the chance that he felt he deserved last year. So he's he's been successful in the league. He's won a championship and he's scored goals. So for us, he adds. He'll come in and he'll fight for a starting spot, and he adds some depth at the worst case scenario. But I think he's a guy who's going to come in really fighting for a place in this team, and he makes guys around him better because he's such a hard worker. And in speaking with him, one of his questions was, what is the work environment like? Are guys really working hard? I want to go somewhere where I'm challenged and people are working and really working to win, and that's this place. That's where we're going to be. And so he adds us. He can play out on a wing, he can play wide, or he can play up the middle and threaten behind. But he also has an ability to get himself open in the box. So we look forward to him. We think he's a good add and a personality to the team.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, Greg, but Daniil seemed to be secondary to Nick as your season ended, and West Ham bought him. Mm-hmm. Is that just they valued him more than this team does?
I don't think so. I mean, for me, Daniil has a lot of upside that's there, but he's been in this league 5 years now, I think, and I think for him to really continue to reach that potential, it probably isn't going to be in Toronto. It's at a point where he needs to move beyond Toronto, get to a new place where he gets a different lesson. And for me, that's a good step for Daniil. And for us, I think it's it's one of those things that we need to, we maybe need to move on in that way as well, just to kind of bring somebody else in, look to solidify the position, maybe get some more experience there. So I think it's mutual. He wanted to move, at the same time we think he's been a fabulous part of this club for a long time, and he will always have a home here, but we also need to find good solutions for ourselves.